غریب ایها الغریب، یاد مادرم افتادم تو قتلگاه.
ذبحوا بذبحك القرآن فوق رمض كربلاء عريانا، سمع الكون نداء الزهراء، ذبحوك ولدي عطشانا.
آسمان روی سرم آوار شد، دوباره فاطمیه تکرار شد. خواهر تو قتلگاه میخونه، هرچه شد بین در و دیوار شد. هرچه شد بین در و دیوار شد.
صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین، اشکام مثل بارون. صلی الله علی المظلوم، به کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون. حسین مولانا، 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 حسین مولانا.
یا لیتنا کنا معک شاه سلام علیک. یا لیتنا کنا معک شاه سلام علیک. شاه سلام علیک.
صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین، اشکام مثل بارون. صلی الله علی المظلوم، به کربلا از داغ شدم دلخون.
بشنوی تکراری ای غم بی پایان، از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان.
بشنوی تکراری ای غم بی پایان، از قدیمم با تو یا قدیم الاحسان.
للأزل حبيتك يا سكنت الوجدان، قدمت لك روحي يا قديم الإحسان.
هستم هر نفس با تو، عشقی الا تو دلم نیست. نیستم آدم ثابت، خونه عاشق جز حرم نیست.
حبك مذهبي وديني، مالك سنيني انت والله. دربك سيد الموتي يرتفع صوتي وحسينا.
هیه علی البکا، همه جا گریه میکنم، با نام سید الشهدا گریه میکنم. خیلی گذشته از سفر آخرم حسین، با خاطرات کرب و بلا گریه میکنم.
Okay, another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We need to get started, my brothers and sisters. If I can have a Continue our programs at the second session. We've already recited Quran and Ziyarat Ashura prior to Maghrib and Isha prayers. If you would like to listen to the sound of Quran and Ziyarat Ashura, please join us at 8 p.m. sharp. We will start every night. Our month of Muharram programs will continue through next Tuesday, inshallah, July the 16th, which is the day of Ashura as well, every night at 8 p.m. Please join us at 8 p.m. for our programs. With that being said, very quickly, I will mention that our blood drive is this Saturday, July 13, starting from 7:30 in the morning to 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. There's a lot of slots open. As of last night, there are 98 slots open, and only out of 98 as of last night, only 13 were filled. So we want to make sure that all of these slots are signed up for. And also, guys, it's a good competition, but there is a competition between centers. Who gets the most donation blood this year? Between us, between Jafariya and some other centers, inshallah. So please make sure that you sign up for Imam Hussein blood drive. Of course, we donate our blood for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So please make sure to do that. And also this coming Sunday is the day of Julus, the March for Imam Hussein alayhi salam in downtown LA at 11:30 a.m. If you would like to join that Julus, please, the flyers will be coming and we will be put it on the projector maybe this Friday as well, inshallah. With that being said, we need your financial support. We need more people to sponsor for food. There are still some nights open. If you would like to sponsor, it's about $700, I believe. If you don't have the entire $700, any amount towards that $700 is also acceptable. Please see Brother Zai Amili. He is the gentleman who sits behind the computer. You can tell him that this money is for your monthly donations and this money goes towards food in the kitchen, so he will record all the transactions accordingly. I think I'm not forgetting anything else. For tonight, we are rushing because it's late. So the title of tonight's speech that Ajaga Mudaris will be discussing is Laziness, a Path to Failure. And now I welcome Ajaga Mudaris to Manbar for a speech for the health of Ajaga Mudaris and his family. Please recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of Rasulullah and his progeny and family Ahlul Bayt, for the honor of his grandson and the master of martyrs Abu Abdullah Hussein and his companions and his family, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين واللعن دائم على أعدائهم أعداء الله أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم إن المنافقين يخادعون الله وهو خادعهم وإذا قاموا إلى الصلاة قاموا كسالى يراءون الناس ولا يذكرون الله إلا قليلا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us a strong iman and bless us with His mercy and forgiveness and grant us guidance and hidayat under the light of Quran and the teachings of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Confusion is a very common problem when it comes to subjects who have different pieces. It has different layers, meaning that to understand what is the most important, what to prioritize, it's something that may happen in our lives and kind of complicate matters. I give you an example. When you are single, shout out to my single brothers and sisters. May Allah help you to find the right spouse in the future, inshallah. Life has its own complication, meaning how to balance your life between your school, if later on you're growing up, now you have a job, family, friends. The more the pieces are added, the complication, it may lead to troubles and misunderstandings and confusion. Priorities are not set. Decisions are made, sometimes not the best decisions. And then people get married. And now you have a new addition to your life, which has its own perks and blessings and benefits and beauties, but at the same time, it also have its own complications. Now you have to deal with a second person, their interest, their happiness, as well as your in-laws. And then on top of that, later on you have children. Now you have another layer. And that's why as we grow up, we see that people say our time gets more limited, more restricted, because now we have more things to do. We're trying to manage our time to the best of our ability. Why I say this? Because that's not only about family, that's an example. When it comes to our religion, there's this confusion that may happen because our religion starts with importance of belief in God, aqidah, our faith, and then it comes legislations, ahkam, rules, and then it come akhlaq, ethical matters, morals that we have. These pieces, all they work together harmoniously. They're not, contradictory. But it has those moments of confusion. That which one I have to consider at this moment. I try to be nice, but my legislation tells me I cannot shake hand with the opposite gender. But akhlaq and ethics tells me, don't be rude to people. What should I do? Confusion happens, right? I try to be nice and kind to people, but my religion tells me when it comes to opposite gender, be careful, do not get emotionally involved. Yes, they're crying. Yes, let's say your co-worker, colleague, classmate had a tough time, and all they want is an innocent hug. And it's being nice. But the confusion happens that, okay, what should I do? And the same as when we talk about dunya, when we talk about wealth, when it comes to business, money, is also another confusion. From one perspective, our deen give us this direction that you have to provide for your family. You have to struggle. You have to constantly put your efforts forward in order to take care of yourself and others. To the point that Surah Al-Jum'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. When the call for Friday prayers is mentioned or is heard, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, then you have to, go toward the remembrance of Allah. You have to put your efforts to get to Jum'ah. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. Stop business, stop transaction. Stop basically, the money making machine has to stop at that time. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. And Allah said, this is better for you if you really knew. If you had the knowledge, you knew that this is better for you. Confusion happened that people said, okay, I go to Jum'ah, I go to this program, I go to that program, I recite Quran early morning, I do namaz al-shab or salatul layl and tahajjud, to a point that is to start affecting my productivity, my business, my life, my studies. And another confusion happens. What should I do? Is doing business bad or good? And then we see that in the same surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after commanding people to perform Jum'ah and Friday prayer, said, فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. When the salat and prayer is done, is performed, is finished, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah says, now start moving, start leaving the masjid, scatter over the earth, over the world. فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Go to your places, go to your place of business, life. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. And seek from the blessings of Allah. Seek it, meaning Allah's blessing is there, all you have to do is just access it, take it. The confusion, the topic that I want to discuss is the struggle that we have again between these two extremes. The more and more I look at issues that we deal with as human beings, we come back to excessiveness. Excessiveness is what's the root cause of many problems. Excessive eating, excessive hunger and fasting, both problem, right? We have binge eating and we have bulimia, both problems. We have excessive workaholics, and we have excessive lack of work, idleness, laziness, which are pretty much people who spend hours and hours of their lives sitting on their phone, playing video games, browsing internet, and the time is just going, moving, even if they don't like it. That's why this excessive issue, this warning that we have in the Quran, in the Islam, is the issue of laziness. It's the path to failure, because when you look at the history of Karbala, those who didn't help Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, the reasons for not helping was not the same. Some didn't help Imam al-Hussein because they didn't know who Imam al-Hussein is. They choose Yazid over Imam al-Hussein. Their basira, their insight was disabled. They couldn't see the truth even if it was before their nose, basically. They were, as Quran says, لَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. They had eyes but they couldn't see. This happens when someone is blinded by dunya and by wealth and fame and power. Even if the truth is under their nose, they're not going to see it. For some people, the issue was fear. Fear for their lives. They loved their life more than anything. Or they loved their dunya, their possessions and wealth. They didn't want to lose any of that. That was another one. They were cowards or scared. And then we have another category, which they are the lazy ones. Those who didn't help Imam alayhi salam, and they said, we're going to come later. It's too early. Once we finish this, once we do this. We have an example of them that Imam met with some people Ubaidullah Hurr Jofi was one of them. These names that we hear, these are the people who lost the opportunity to join Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And their excuse was, we're coming. Not now. Not now. Later. And among those we have people who are family of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, related to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, who didn't come. From Bani Hashim, some people didn't join Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And even they advised them not to go. So we're not going ourselves and we're telling you not to go either. So laziness is without a doubt one of the greatest obstacle in our path and our way to success, to our salvation. In the Quran, the term for laziness is kasal. Kisala or kasal means laziness. There are other terms who have a different, very slightly different meaning, but the major word is, let's call them the most prominent word in the Quran is kasal. The ayah I recited from Surah An-Nisa, Allah talks about hypocrites. Those who on their tongue they claim they believe in Allah, in their hearts there is no faith. Two-faced people. Those that their hearts and their actions or their word doesn't match. Quran talks about them in Surah An-Nisa. Innal munafiqeen. Indeed, hypocrites, yukhadi'un Allah. They seek to deceive Allah. They think they can trick Allah. Because of their assumption that they think they are smarter than everyone else. In Surah Al-Baqarah, the early verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah talks about hypocrites. So these are the ones that they're fi qulubihim maradun. They have this sickness in their soul and heart. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. The more time passes, the worse it gets. The worse it gets. So, hypocrites, they try to deceive Allah. وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُمْ. But Allah outwit them. Allah outperformed them. Allah said, you try to deceive me, watch. You think you can get away with it? Watch. You think you got away with it? Watch. I give you some respite, some time. وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالًا. Another sign of hypocrites and munafiq, Quran said, is when they stand for prayers, for salat, قَامُوا كُسَالًا. They stand up lazily, with laziness. Meaning that because their heart is not with their action. They pretend. They don't want to do it. You say, oh, that happens to me. It was a late night. By the time I got home, in the Fajr time, I woke up. I was very tired. I did prayer. I was very lazy, but I did it. So it means I'm munafiq. The difference is, the reason you woke up for the Fajr was not people. You woke up because of your faith. You woke up because you believe you're supposed to do your Fajr. Even if your Fajr, if your Salat was not as vibrant, energetic, alive as you wanted, still you did it for believe in Allah. What make you to stand up for Salat in that time? What was it? Allah. But munafiqeen, when they stand up and praise lazily, what is it? Yura'un an-nas. They stand up in prayer lazily, showing off to the people. Meaning if they are alone, they're not going to do salat. If they're at home, a hypocrite, a munafiq is not going to even stand up for prayer. Because who am I trying to trick here? I don't believe it, I don't do it. But in front of people, because I'm having this facade, this show, that I'm believing, see, I'm good too, I'm believing as well. They stand up in prayers because of others. And that's why, because their hearts is not in it, they do it lazily. وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. And not remembering Allah except a little. Meaning that those times that people are around them or there's an advantage for them, they remember Allah. Otherwise, they're obsessed with their scenario that they have in their mind, what they're trying, what kind of agenda they have that they want to move and push forward. That's the munafiq. And a good number of people who are fighting against Imam Ali alayhi salam, against the Prophet, against Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam are munafiqeen, hypocrites. There's an entire chapter named Munafiqun talking about them. And Allah in Surah At-Tawbah and other chapters talks about وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ. Allah said the city of the Prophet. A very sacred town. Allah said from the people of Medina, مَرَدُوا عَلَى النِّفَاقِ. Quran says. They are the one that they are on the rank of hypocrites. And Allah said, Allah knows who they are. Allah knows exactly every one of the munafiqeen. And if He wanted, He would have exposed them. But the nature of dunya and Allah's mercy is that people don't get exposed right away. Because the other ayah says if that was the case, that's the beauty of the Quran. One ayah is connected to another, to another, to another. That's the beauty of it. Another ayah Allah says that if we punish people after every sin they committed, meaning if we don't give him respite, if we don't give him that time, if we do not procrastinate their punishment, postpone their adhab, not even one living creature will walk on the face of earth. Not even one. Meaning we should be grateful that Allah doesn't punish us right away. So if people got away with it, if Allah gave them that opportunity to move on with their life, is not a mercy. Sometimes Allah said, we leave you on your own to add and accumulate your sin to dig a deeper ditch for yourself. Because that's what you want. So laziness, kasal, is a sign of a munafiq. And in our teachings, we were warned about them. Iyaka wal kasal. Imam Ali alayhi salam recited salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam alayhi salam said, Iyaka wal kasal. I'm warning you about laziness, about idleness. That indeed the one who is kasal will fall short on the responsibilities. You will not be able to fulfill your duties. And laziness, like everything else, is something that we develop over time. It's not something that, okay, we are lazy, we're born lazy. Look at children. They're not lazy. You literally have to bribe them to make them sit. It's an interesting dunya, right? Children, in the old time, parents would do anything to make them stay indoors. Right? The poor mom, the poor dad literally chasing them. I remember my childhood. All we needed was a ball. Not a fancy soccer ball. It was a very cheap, thin plastic. And you just leave us and other children in the midst of summer, hot days, sun, nothing can stop us. And then they have to come and say, okay, come. It's lunchtime. No, we come later. Until the final weapon was used. Dad is coming. Then you would rush toward the house. The authority, right? Nowadays is interesting dunya. That parents bribing their kids to go outside. Go, if you do this with your bicycle, if you go for a walk this, then I do this for you. And adults is the same thing. Laziness is not something that we're born with. It's something that we are accustomed. We get used to it. Especially the lifestyle that we have is all about comfort. It's about ease of use, right? Order, pick up, drive up, right? 2-day delivery, fast food, pre-cooked meal and, ready meals and things like that. Everything is all about comfort. So for that reason, laziness, it becomes kind of a habitual act in our lives. I remember a mom a while ago asked me, said, my son, he used to do his salat when he was younger. when he was in his teen years. But as he get older, now he's a teenager, now he's 14, 15, is a hard time. I have to push him. Tell him. What's the issue? What's the reason? I said, I don't know, but after a while getting to know that young man, I said, there's no issue. There's one issue, laziness. It's not the matter of aqidah, it's not the belief system, it's not that he is being exposed to some, or in his case, I don't know every young man out there. In his case, the only issue was laziness. Playing a lot of time on video games, watching a lot of stuff, and then when it comes to Fajr time, he was lazy. Don't overcomplicate it. I said, he's lazy, that's it. He needs, inshallah, some exercise, he needs some physical activity, he'll get good at it. Don't make it more than that. Do not be concerned about his fundamental and foundation of his beliefs to be troubled. His practice is the trouble. Same as with adults, laziness is a big issue. And that's why the confusion is that should we seek dunya, should we go do business, or no, spend time in worship. Sometimes laziness lurks in the excuse of worship. I don't do work. Why are you not doing work? I'm spending time reading Quran. I'm not doing the job that I'm supposed to do because I'm doing salat. When the Quran itself, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says, when you're done with Jum'ah, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ Go run after your business. Do not stall. It's the time to provide your family. And that's one message we should not walk away from it, ignoring it, because that will lead to not a lot of problems. When we have in our community those who are proud of not being active, not being in business, and they think this is being something religious, that's a misunderstanding and confusion of faith. And business, again, comes in different shape and form. Business, sometimes you're retail, sometimes you're in education, in your healthcare, whatever that is, ultimately means you are productive, you're doing something. It may seem not like a business to others, but ultimately work is work. What are you doing? What are you producing? What are you achieving? That's the question. Unfortunately, people, they have their own judgment of businesses and professions and skills. Oh, this is not a good job, or this is inferior. It doesn't matter. What people think, leave them to them. But what Quran says, Ya ayyuhal insan innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih, until you meet your Lord, which referring to death. Until we die, O human being, you have to continue constantly working. Kadih, you have to struggle. You cannot sit idle. There is a poetry which I find it a beautiful analogy. The translation is that human being, we are like waves. Look at the waves of the ocean. We are like waves that the moment that we stop moving, have you seen a wave that is not moving, that is paused? Have you seen it? It's not a wave anymore. We're like waves that not moving means our non-existence. Mojim ke asudagi ma adam mast. That's a poetry. That sometimes if somebody just stop moving forward, stop producing, acting, is not something honorable. That's why in the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we've been warned about being dependent on others. We have so many hadiths. In our religion, we've been told that if somebody reach out to you, do your best to help, to the best of your ability. But as a person, you're in trouble yourself, do not extend your hand to others. Learn this idea that, okay, if you have a need, avoid asking others for help to the best of your ability. We have that barakah leaves a house that is depending on others. in a sense of their survival. Means I become a burden on others. Again, that's not our job. As if somebody asks us help, we cannot give him this lecture. If they ask for help, it means they already made that call, they made that judgment. They know how troubled they are that they're asking you. They put their reputation, their ego under their feet, they come to you. But for a person that we are asking individually for our own needs, is the best thing is to avoid asking for help, asking for loan, asking for help. If I can do it on my own, I should do it. Because once we get used to getting help, barakah leaves. Means that the one who asks for help, you will never stand on your feet. You become this person who always asks for help. You always are in debt. You always try to pay off. You never, the moment you pay off one debt, you create another one and another one. So you have to seek barakah and blessing with doing something with your life, providing, working, and pushing aside this laziness and idleness. Imam al-Hussein, when he arrived in Karbala, Bani Asad is a tribe that lives in that region. We have that Imam alayhi salam asked him, who is this land belong to? And then we have that Imam alayhi salam paid the owners of the land, and he bought. This area that Imam is buried today is the area that we have that Imam alayhi salam purchased for 20,000 dirham. There are different numbers, but that money should come from somewhere. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they had access to wealth. I mean, if somebody asks them for help, nobody will leave empty-handed. They will not live the life of luxury. They will not live the life of extravagant spending, but they had access to wealth. I mentioned when Umar ibn Asad was talking, communicating with Imam Hussein, Imam told him, what do you want? I give you a garden. I give you a house. Imam has an access. He chooses to live a different life. He chooses to share that wealth with the people and live the simplest life himself. Because he is the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and how many stories we heard. The food of Imam Ali himself was a loaf of bread and salt. Once those who were coming to the house of Ali alayhi salam, that was not the food for them. For the guest of the house of Ali alayhi salam, there was all different kind of accommodations. From, meat and kebabs to other things that was at the time. And how is that possible? Because Imam alayhi salam is not idle. Somebody made fun of our fifth Imam, Imam al-Baqir, Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam was working on the farm, sweating. And this man, by the name of Ibn Munkadir, was walking by, and he said, you are the son of Prophet, I heard great things about you. You are Baqir al-Ulum, the splitter of knowledge, of all this. If at this moment that you're seeking dunya, because he was farming, if you die, how will you meet your Lord that you're not in the state of worship, that you're not in a masjid, that you're not praying? And Imam alayhi salam said, if I die at this moment, I meet my Lord pleasing. That Allah will be pleased with me, that I was working hard not to make my family dependent on others. I was providing halal, lawful income for them. I will meet my Creator in the state of worship. So confusion is when people don't understand that ibadat and worship is not just salat. Salat is one of the best form of prayers and worship. Is Amududdin is the pillar. I'm not trying to downplay salat in no way. And we will inshallah get to Imam al-Hussein and salat itself. But it's not the only form of ibadat. When you look at the rules that we have under ahkam, under legislations, under ibadat, worship, salat is one of the worships. Fasting is another worship. Also on the worship is what? Act of worship, ibadat, zakat, sadaqah. When we give charity, when we give money, is also ibadat, is also worship. It's my incomplete understanding of worship that I think worship is only salat, is only prayers, is only namaz. It's my misunderstanding. Because even when I give zakat, Eid al-Fitr, the day after we give zakat al-Fitr, what's the niyat of zakat al-Fitr? Tell me. What is the intention when we give that zakat, when we give that charity? Qurbatan ilallah. The niyat should be for the sake of Allah, I give this charity. Otherwise, if you don't do it for the qurbatan ilallah, that zakat will not be accepted. Same as with any other kind of charity that in Islam we do. Khums, zakat, sadaqah, all of them should be qurbatan ilallah. Is ibadah. When I do work in business, if I do it for the right reason, for the sake of Allah, it's not just limited to one form or one shape. But how can we achieve this way of not being idle and avoid laziness? One thing is to avoid is procrastination. Again, narrated from Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, recited salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam alayhi salam said, ta'akhirul amal unwanul kasal. So the sign of laziness is when we procrastinate, when we postpone. Later. I do this later. It's always later. When you want to, study for the test, the night of the test, right? When I want to do the project that I'm supposed to work at, and I have a deadline, later. That's the sign of laziness, Imam alayhi salam said. How to avoid laziness as a pathway to failure? Number one, try to avoid procrastination. That's number one. Number two, how to avoid laziness, which is critical, is to have a time for rest. Laziness sometimes happens because when we burn out, meaning that we overwork to the point that we have no more energy to do work, and then suddenly we stop. There's work, and then suddenly no work. I talk to people, for years they worked to the point that they had no social life. Day and night they were working. Suddenly they said, you know what, life is too short, I'm going to stop. And now they totally stop every business. No more business at all. This happens why? Because there was no time for rest. Quran says, وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا. We made the daytime for ma'ash, livelihood. Go earn the rizq of Allah. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. We made the night the time that is covering, is a time of rest. But daytime you should be seeking Allah's rest. Nighttime rest. And even during the daytime could not be entirely, especially summertime, the hours are mashallah so long in a day. Remember the hadith that we already discussed from Imam Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kadhim alayhi salam, that your time has to be, it has segments, your day, right? A time for worship, a time for rizq, a time for family and friends and socializing, and a time for, what was the fourth segment? Anybody remember the hadith? It was halal leisure, halal entertainment. That part of your day should be a time for rest. And then Imam alayhi salam said this fourth segment, which is about halal leisure, lawful entertainment and pleasure, is the one that gives you energy and the strength to do the other three good. Because if I don't have the proper strength, I'm not going to do a proper worship. I'm going to be lazy in my worship. If I don't do proper resting and I don't do proper rejuvenation, recharge, I will not be able to do a good job in rizq. I will not be able to talk to people. There's some brothers we have when I talk to, because they're mashallah, they're so occupied with so many things, suddenly in the middle of a conversation they stop talking. So what happened? He said, my social battery has died. Subhanallah, it's a new thing I learned. Nowadays, again, if I get tired in my mimbar, if you come to me and I don't talk to you, my social battery has died. Meaning that when we over consume anything to excessive level, that leads to kisala, it leads to laziness. So we need recharge. We need a moment of rest. But we have to be smart about it. Not, okay, I'm going to do 10 hours of rest and then 2 hours of work only. It should be suitable. It should actually make sense for our life, for our responsibilities that we have. One person to another, it may differ, right? If somebody's job is an 8-hour shift to somebody else who may only need 2 hours, do not compare yourself. Some people need more time, some people need less time. It does not make your work less worthy. It means they're different. So that's one way. Second way is to avoid, as I said, overexhaustion. Giving ourselves rest time, break time is necessary. And the third and final point for tonight, recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What leads to kisalat, what leads to laziness is the people who are lazy. If we surround ourselves with lazy people, right? If I talk about and I interact with people who are, and I like that we repackage things. As a human being, we're smart about it. I've seen people who repackage, relabel bribery as gift. Oh, it's not a bribe, it's a gift. They rebrand and repackage backbiting and gossip as what? As a chat, as a conversation. Right? And I've seen other rebranding is that to be lazy, we rebrand it as being chill. I'm chill. Yes, there's one good meaning for being chill, not being too anxious, not being too stressed over nothing. But one definition of chill is people who are extremely lazy and they say, I'm a chill person. So with that definition, what leads to a lazy lifestyle is when all I have around me as friends, as people that I spend time with are lazy people. I promise you. I remember in our classrooms, usually the end of the class were the people who didn't want to listen to the teacher. The lazy people were always at the end of the class. The smart ones were always in the front because they wanted to ask questions. And again, they were labeled and named, teachers this and that. But ultimately, you see, they will always find their own group. Usually the one that they were, without any offense, again, is not a disrespectful term anymore, geeks, right? Those were geeks and they were into studying and it was important to them. They were together, usually they hang out together. And that was before our time, which is now people talk to each other with chats, and when they see each other, there's not a lot of talking. There's a lot of synthetic friendships that we have. Back then it was that you find your group, you were with them. The lazies were together, the smarts were together, the hardworking were together, the jocks and the athletes were together. You find your group to be part of. And that has something to teach us. If I see that my life is getting toward this, that I'm becoming lazier and lazier on a daily basis, it's important to look at my surrounding, look at my peers. And maybe I need to reevaluate my relationships, and maybe bring people who are more hard workers. They're more responsible individuals that can also push me, motivate me to be responsible, to be an active and ultimately a productive mu'min and a productive believer. I finish inshallah with this 3 point, that how can we deal with this beast of laziness which Imams of Ahlul Bayt warned us about. And be careful that kisalat and laziness doesn't only affect our dunya. Those who are lazy in their dunya, we have the hadith as well. Those who are lazy when it comes to their business and work and everything, they will be lazy in their religion as well. It's not that you can separate them from one another. If I'm someone that I'm not my 100% in my work, I will not be 100% in my salat either. If I'm someone who always cut corners in my business, in my responsibilities, in my studies, I will cut corners when it comes to religious responsibilities as well. Because ultimately it becomes that character. May Allah grant us all the ability to struggle for the sake of Allah, that أَلَّيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. At the end of the day, we have nothing. We are alone in this world. I don't want to make it dark and hopeless, but reality is we have nothing. When we leave this dunya, we have nothing. The only thing that stays with us is our efforts. لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. What we worked for, what we tried, what we struggled for, that struggle, that effort is the only thing that remains with us. And tonight is one effort that we made to be here tonight. We could have stayed home, watched TV, scroll on phone, but I choose to struggle. Sit, again, probably is not as comfortable as I wanted to be. Maybe it wasn't as pleasant, but I pushed myself to do something, to give that effort. And I ask Allah to reward us for this effort with granting us the khayr and the good of dunya and akhirah. Inshallah, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We conclude tonight's majlis with the name of daughter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Every night is not a tradition, is not religious, is very, very personal, cultural, that dedicate one night to one of the personalities of Karbala. Again, if you do a different person tonight, it doesn't make it wrong. But tonight usually is the one that they remember and they recite musibah and the tragedy of this personality is Ruqayya, salamun alayha, daughter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Although she is one of those who were martyred after Ashura, she was martyred in the city of Sham as a prisoner of war, and she was buried in Sham and now in Damascus in Syria. She has this small ziyarah. But her story is a reminder that why we say As-salamu ala al-Hussein wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussein wa ala awlad al-Hussein. Why exclusively as-salam to the children of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Because the children of Imam Hussein, they're part of the narrative, part of the sacrifice as well. And one is this, history says 3 years old, 5 years old, but she was very, very young. Let's take our hearts from here to the city of Sham, the one that when they ask Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, in your journey to Karbala, to Kufa, which musibah, which difficulty, which calamity was the most painful one, was the most difficult one? And Imam Zain al-Abidin 3 times he said, Ash-Sham, Ash-Sham, Ash-Sham. Said the most difficult one was for the family of the Prophet, the city of Sham. Not the day of Ashura for him. It was very hard, it was very traumatic, difficult. And they ask why. And Imam, we have in his statement that our family, we were not strangers to shahadat, to martyrdom. My grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib was martyred. Our great uncles Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada, Ja'far al-Tayyar were martyred. We are the family of Shahada. It was not the first time that someone in our family was martyred. Although the beheading was first, but the Shahadat is something for the way of Allah, my family are acquainted with. But to become an eyewitness, to see our women and children to become asir and captives, that was the first, and that was difficult. For the Imam and the Hujjat of Allah to see his sisters, his family in chains and shackles and being abused and being slapped and being hurt every step of the way. And once they get to the city of Sham, Imam Zain al-Abidin has to eyewitness heckling, laughing, dancing, celebration for the tragedy of Karbala. One is a physical pain, one is a psychological torture. Sallallahu alayka ya madloom, ya أبا عبد الله يا ليتنا كنا معك فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Everyone, السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن وعلى أولاد الحسين. من ماندم و خونابه و پاهای زخمی، روی پر و بالم نشسته جای زخمی، دنبال تو شیرین ترین بابای دنیا، منزل به منزل می روم با پای زخمی. دیروز و امروزم پر از درد است بابا، تو نیستی می ترسم از فردای زخمی. از بام ها آتش به روی چادرم ریخت، یادم نرفته سوزش و گرمای زخمی که باعث کم پشتی موهای من شد در انتظار دیدن بابای زخمی. اسرا رو آوردن از کربلا به کوفه، از کوفه به شام، در بین راهی اطفال و زنان و کودکان تا نام حسین برده می شد، تا سرهای شهدا رو می دیدن بالای نیزه ها، گریه می کردن، ناله می زدن، با کعبنه و تازیانه جواب می دادن. نگذاشتن یک دل سیر زن و کودک و یتیم گریه کنن تا که رسیدن شهر شام. آوردن اینها رو در خرابه شام، اینها رو محل اقامت قرار دادن. نیمه های شب رقیه نازدانه دختر ابا عبدالله از خواب بیدار شد، صدا زد عم زینب به من گفتید پدرم به سفر رفته، کی بابای من از این سفر طولانی برمیگردن. آخه هر کسی رو که شما در لحظه تصور کنید، کسی که یتیم شده از رو نوازش میکنن، یتیم نوازی میکنن، اما به جای نوازش، به جای دلداری، هر لحظه این سفر زخم زبان، آزار و اذیت، دل این آزدانه، این دختر بچه پر از درده. تا نام حسین رو برد کل این خرابه مملو از سر و صدا و گریه و ناله شد. الان اولین فرصت پیدا کردن ناله بزنن، بین راه که نگذاشته بودن گریه کنن. تا نام ابا عبدالله برده شد، داغ ای عزیزان تازه شد، نوح زرایی مصیبت، گریه بلند شد. داریم گفتن که یزید ملعون بلند شد، گفت چه خبر است از این سر صدا و همه. سربازا رفتن برگشتن، گفتن یکی از این اطفال، یکی از این یتیمان بهانه بابا گرفته. دستور داد، گفت سرها رو ببرید، سر حسین رو ببرید، بگذارید اینها ساکت شوند. سر رو گذاشتن داخل طبقی، آوردن وارد خرابه شام، گذاشتن مقابل این نازدانه. تا چشمش افتاد به طبق رو کرد، به زینب کبرا، عم زینب من درخواست قضا نکردم، من بابام رو خواستم. زینب سلام الله علیها با چشم گریان رو کرد رقیه. آخه داریم حضرت هر کاری کرد سر رو نگذارد به رقیه برسند. سر به زور حضرت زینب رو کنار زدن تا گذاشتن مقابل رقیه گریه میکنند. این سربازها اینقدر دل سنگ. فرمود آنچه که تو میطلبی زیر این طبق است، درون این طبق است. این روکش رو کنار زد، چشمش افتاد به سر بابا، صداش بلند شد من الذی ایتمنی فی صغر سنی. چه کسی منو در این سن خردسالی یتیم کرد. شروع کرد درد و دل با سر بابا. بابا جان حسین کجا بودی؟ چرا سر و دندانت خون آلوده؟ چرا موهای تو پر از خاکستره؟ نبودی بین راه عممون رو با تازیانه می زدن؟ نبودی برادرم امام سجاد رو پاهاش و دستاش روی شتر بستن؟ ناله زد، درد دل کرد تا جایی که این تمام اهل این خرابه شروع کردن هم نوا شدن، ناله زدن با رقیه بنت الحسین. صداشون بلند شد یا ابا عبدالله، یا مظلوم، یا غریب. شبیه هر چه که عاشق سرت جدا شده است، تمام هستی پهناورت جدا شده است. غزل چگونه بگویم ز قطعه های تنت که بیت بیت تو از پیکرت جدا شده است. چقدر این نازدانه مصیبت خانی بود، روزخانه، جز اولین روزخانهای پدر رقیه نازدانه بود. این روزها جز گریه غمخواری نداری، جز در صبوری سوختن کاری نداری. تنها شدی خیلی دلت را غم گرفته، ریحانه بابا عزاداری نداری. چه گفت رقیه؟ بر نیزه ها از دور می دیدم سرت را، بابا تو هم دیدی دو چشم دخترت را. چشمانم از داغ تو شد باغ شقایق، در خون رها وقتی که دیدم پیکرت را. ای کاش جای آن همه شمشیر و نیزه یک بار میشد من ببوسم حنجرت را. ناله زد، درد دل کرد. صدای رقیه آرام شد. زینب آمد کنار رقیه، شاید خوابش برده باشدی عزیز جان پدر. آمد جان رقیه رو ببیند، جان پدر رو، رقیه نازدانه رو. بدن بی جان رقیه رو روی زمین دید. او رو نیمه شب در خرابه دفن کردن. وقتی که داریم حضرت زینب آمد سر قبر ابا عبدالله، جزو اولین جملاتی که گفت فرمود السلام علیک یا ابا عبدالله، برادر حسین سلام. از من نپرس که کجا گذاشتم نازدانت رقیه رو، که امانت دار خوبی نبودم. و علی لعنت الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Ya Allah, by the honor of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, by the honor of daughter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Ruqayya, hasten in reappearance of Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, by the honor of the children of Abu Abdullah, Ya Allah, protect our children. Ya Allah, protect them against misguidance, against illness, against any harm in dunya and akhirah. And Ya Allah, help us to raise our children to be on the path of Islam, on the path of Quran, and on the path of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Ya Allah, by the honor of Imam al-Hussein, all those mareed, all those who are in need of our du'as, those who are ill, those who are sick. Ya Allah, grant them immediate shifa, healing and recovery. And Ya Allah, we pray for all the madhlumeen and oppressed of the world. As we see in the videos, the orphans, the children, women who are suffering in Gaza and Palestine. Ya Allah, bring an end to their suffering and grant them their freedom and grant them their freedom and liberation as soon as possible. Ya Allah, grant the soul of all of our marhumeen, all of the mu'mineen and mu'minat, the sponsors of our majalis, maghfirah and forgiveness. And Ya Allah, we ask you by the honor of the Abu Abdullah, grant us the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah in this life and intercession and shafa'at of Abu Abdullah in the day of judgment. Let's everybody stand up. We finish with Azadari, with the salam to Abu Abdullah and Hussein. Assalamu alaykum. Ya Abu Abdullah, Assalamu alayk. Ya Abu Abdullah, Sayyidi Ya Mazlum. Ya Abu Abdullah, Sayyidi Ya Mazlum. Ya Abu Abdullah, Sayyidi Ya Mazlum. Abdullah, Assalamu alayk.
Ya Abu Abdullah, Assalamu alayk. Ya Abu Abdullah.
Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. يا رحمة الله الواسعة يا باب النجاة الأمة مظلوم مظلوم كربلاء كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. ای ام سفر به نیزه مرا جستمانیست، من را به غیر روی تو شوقی نگاه نیست. در این 3 سال غیر تو ذکر نگفتم، شکر خدا که عمر کم من تباه نیست. با شک نگاه موی سپید از چی می کنی؟ آری رقیه تو منم اشتباه نیست. هر منزلی که آمدم زخم خوردم، شام کسی چو شام تن من سیاه نیست. دیگر مجاب رفتن با معم مکن، دست و بال و گردن و پایم برا نیست. فهمیدم ز سلی و شلاق و سلسله ما را بغیر دامن اما پناه نیست. با این که کودکانم زخمی و خستند، اما تن کسی چو تنم راه را نیست. بابا بگو که چشم امو غیرت کند، اینجا غیر طعنه و تیر نگاه نیست. صلوات محمدی محمد و آل محمد. با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که هم مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که هم مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، از غصه ناگزیر شدم در 3 سالگی. گفتم وطن که آب شود از گرسنگی، گفتم وطن که آب شود از گرسنگی، از جان خود که سیر شدم در 3 سالگی، از جان خود که سیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی. من پای عشق تو کمرم تا شد ای پدر، من پای عشق تو کمرم تا شد ای پدر، این شد که سربزیر شدم در 3 سالگی، این شد که سربزیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی. غصه نخور فدای سرت که سرم شکست، غصه نخور فدای سرت که سرم شکست، یا که اگر اسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، یا که اگر اسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی. از داغ روی داغ و ای زخم پشت زخم، ای داغ روی داغ و ای زخم پشت زخم، بعد از تو زود پیر شدم در 3 سالگی، بعد از تو زود پیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام سیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی. گرچه نرفتم به کنیزی ولی عجیب، گرچه نرفتم به کنیزی ولی عجیب، کوچک شدم عقیر شدم در 3 سالگی، کوچک شدم عقیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی. من فکر می کنم که اما فکر می کنند، من فکر می کنم که اما فکر می کنند، خیلی بهانه‌گیر شدم در 3 سالگی، خیلی بهانه‌گیر شدم در 3 سالگی، خیلی بهانه‌گیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام مسیر شدم در 3 سالگی، با غم که ام سیر شدم در 3 سالگی. صلوات بلند.
شخصی سوال کرد ز بیمار کربلا، کی داغدار کوفه و ای مبتلای شام، جور کدا ورته شما را عظیم‌تر، آهی کشید و گفت که داد از جفای شام، در خراب طفلی جان به حق سپرده، در خراب طفلی جان به حق سپرده، بس که تازیانه از عدو بخورده، صورتش شده نیلی بس که خورده و سیلی، آه از دل زینب، آه از دل زینب،
آه از دل زینب، آه از دل زینب،
از دل زینب،
از دل زینب.
گفتا برقیه زینب حزینه گفتا برقیه زینب حزینه کای عزیز جانم خسرو مدینه بابت بسفر رفته از پیش نظر رفته از دل زینب 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 گاهی بحر بابا بودی در بهانه گاهی بحر بابا بودی در بهانه گاهی بار اشک اکبر اشکی و روانه گاه بخاطر اصغر زد بسینه و بر سر از دل زینب 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 گاهی گفت عمه از حیات سیرم گاهی گفت عمه از حیات سیرم ای کاش عمه الان بمیرم سیلی خور یادایم من بی کس و تنهایم داد از دل زینب 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 گاه گفتم از حیات سیرم گاه گفتم از حیات سیرم کاش دیگر من عما بمیرم سیرم ز جهان عما بیتاب و توانم از دل زینب 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 اجرکم الله بارا گو پیمبر که علی جان من است هم بجان علی بو اسم محمد صلوات.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي المجتبى. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي التقي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي النقي وعلى حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمن يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان يا أبا صالح المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ولشفاء مرضانا رحم الله لمن قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.